welcome back to the HGC. Hopefully you enjoyed your slight break as we get ready for the second series of the day. Series number 1, a bit shocking, Kaldor.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be a close series, but everybody, I think, expected Team Liquid to make a bit of a tougher stand there and to really just bring the hand trick that didn't really work out for them. So Team Liquid losing another series and starting to fall farther and farther in the standings, with Esports rising to claim a pretty solid position for BlizzCon, or at least the playoffs.
Well, the standings are very important. Let's go ahead and take a look at them right now, as our next team playing is also looking to move up in the slot they are currently in. Playing Ducks will be facing off against Team Expert. If they could get a win here against Expert, they would start to move up, and then they have a match against Team Liquid this weekend. So things are really coming to fruition for this weekend, and at the end of Sunday, we should have a little bit more clarity as we get closer and closer to Crucible and playoffs.
Yeah, and this match is going to be the match that you are just alluding to for the Ducks. Even if they lose here, if they win against Team Liquid then later on this weekend, then they would still be tied with them. So I mean, I don't know. For Liquid, if that wasn't a wake-up call, then I don't know what is. They're like, they had their sights on BlizzCon, and right now it's just not working out for them. They went to the Western Clash. They came in 3rd, but overall things are just not working out for them at all at this point.
Well, let's go and look at the schedule here so you guys can get an idea of what exactly you'll be watching. We've already had one series conclude earlier, and we did have Team Liquid lose to Twitch Esports with a 3-1. Later on, North America will come at you. Space Station Gaming and Gale Force Esports, and Team Freedom and Superstars finishing out the day. Yeah,
and NA is currently pretty interesting with the top teams in particular. There's a few more stories there as well, but for me the biggest one is still Roll20, currently doing so well since they also have a bit of an easier start into Phase 2, Part 2, but it's very likely. They have a very good shot of going 15-0 in map wins this weekend before they have to go up against the big names.
It's getting to a point here where I'm starting to get excited for North America versus Europe versus Korea again, and we're getting closer and closer here. We only have a few more weeks left here in the actual weekly divisions, but still getting exciting. Now, our next matchup, again, Expert facing off against the Playing Ducks, and our players weigh in.
So I think Playing Ducks are definitely towards the bottom end of the standings right now, but we can't really sleep on them because we did take a loss to GGG, so we have to prepare for them just as much as any other team. A player that stands out for me personally, I think whenever they win, it's a lot coming from like Sport Billy. He has a huge impact on the game, and he's one of their keys to winning the games. I think if they do want to win, they have to put Billy on one of his main heroes and make him feel comfortable in the game. But assuming everything goes to plan and we get the drafts we want, I think it should be a 3-0 for us.
We trained more against Liquid this week than against Expert, but we might get them there. They seemed a little shaky as well. Like, EU in general is not as stable as the season before, so you cannot be surprised by their drafts. Like, you need to prepare for anything, and you need to not get uncomfortable when they draft something which is not that meta, so to say. So just be confident in yourself and try to beat them with what you have prepared, and don't get like surprised or shaky from what they do.
Any other team not really preparing for their matchup, I'd be a little bit worried for them. But the last time that we saw the Playing Ducks not really prepare as heavily for their opponent, they beat Fnatic. So there's always this weird element of things that could happen for them.
Again, I said in the past, for them it's also a mental issue. Pretty much as with Team Liquid, if they go into a series and they just do their thing and they just play, they look always so much stronger, so much better than when they overthink things and just jump in and like worry about every single step of the way. So they need to just play their game. They have the talent on their team. They know how to do it. It's just do your thing and don't overthink things. Plan a strategy and try to run it.
Play to your strengths. Let's go ahead and look at the cheers here for both of our teams. The top 5 cheers already for the Playing Ducks. Lives 187 is at 14,000 as he'll be the #1 for them.
Yeah, the Ducks definitely picking up here in the standings with the cheers, but Team Expert, of course, a little bit farther ahead. The Cows with clubs are in it again, and Celidor on #1 with 26,000.
Cheers continue to roll in. Expert also climbing too. During the Western Clash, I was actually surprised at how small they were, but they're starting to get really catching too.
That surprised me as well. Of course, you have Fnatic, Team Liquid, and Dignitas, the teams with a lot of fans, the fan favorites here. But Expert coming in second at the Western Clash, and they didn't even appear in, I think, the top 8 list of teams. I was just like, what's going on here? These guys are completely killing it. They're doing so well, and they have for the entire time just always try to push into the big 3. Now they are more or less established there. So they had an incredible run. I was actually surprised by that too. They're picking up a few more recently. But yeah, that was definitely something that I didn't expect.
Yeah, expect some more wins from them, and we'll see them get more cheers. Now let's go ahead and jump into Battleground number 1 here. Of our best of 5, Dragonshire is the pick. Playing Ducks, moving straight into it. It's a Battleground that they have enjoyed more and more in the past.
Yeah, we've seen a lot more Dragonshire, and I'm actually very happy about it. It's also, again, a map, I think, where you can see the occasional odd pick coming out, and that is something that we have to watch out for when we talk about Team Expert. So it's going to be an interesting series from not only what we've heard so far and what we've analyzed about, okay, what does this mean for the teams? With, of course, Playing Ducks trying to push out of the Crucible spots, and at the same time Expert working towards the HGC finals at BlizzCon. But also, traditionally, Playing Ducks have never won against Expert in any online HGC match. So they went 0-3, 3 times that the two teams faced off against each other.
And that's 0-9 in total.
Yes.
Wow.
So the track record of the Playing Ducks against Expert is not really the best.
Well, let's see if they can disrupt that current track record, get a victory or 2 against Expert, or heck, even an entire win. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Playing Ducks versus Team Expert. Team Expert will have the first ban of the game.
And first pick, first ban for Expert is usually incredibly important. Now keep also in mind that with this being a map where coordination, rotations are extremely important. We talked again about our globals, Dehaka and ETC playing a big role here. We have also seen a lot of double support compositions put down into that bot lane, trying to pressure that with a lot of Tacita combos. So that might be something that the teams are targeting in the first picks in the ban.
Yep, also all about those top laners as well. We're going to be watching a Thuro versus a Thurnal, see how that goes down. Back in the day, when Playing Ducks had Crisplosion, they had Nande here, who played a lot of Chen on the top lane, but don't know if we'll be seeing that today, but I miss it, man. The Chen from Nande was quite a fun weekend.
Chen games are always funny, I think. It's always exciting to see that. And Team Expert go for Tyrande as a ban. So the Ducks, maybe in the recent past, focusing a bit more on her and also trying to put that pressure in. An immediate Abathur ban instead, so no real globals banned out. Abathur, of course, can fill that role with a soak. But Team Expert now heading into Tacita as their first pick, already preparing for a double support.
Tastar? Picked up pretty often by Team Expert. Interesting to see that Tyrande ban from them, showing how much traction she's starting to get in scrims and also as of last week.
Yeah, I didn't expect Tyrande to be this high in as a ban just yet. So I'm a little bit curious what exactly that is about, since it either highlights that Expert knows a bit about the practice of the Playing Ducks, or at the same time that they just ban her out because they don't want to deal with those interrupts against channel attempts, for example. But overall, it wasn't quite the ban that I expected here.
I mean, I could see a world where Sport Billy has been spamming Tyrande like crazy as of late. So, makes sense.
Definitely. But Sport Billy has also Medivh that can still be picked here. We have Medivh available. We still can see Dehaka. We have also ETC that is an option. You can just simply go into both of them here even. But we see neither. Instead, it's Rega and Vala. Now with Vala, of course, one hero that Team Expert could look towards with their double support is already taken away. But then again, we talk often about Tracer and Nick playing Tracer. So with Tacita, that might be an option for them.
Yeah. Tracer always there, Lenara as well. I wouldn't mind seeing the Tracer. He does a solid job. It's good on this Battleground too. You can open up 2 after a couple of dragons, make that Tracer become a little bit more effective, especially towards that bottom lane. Dehaka, also available here, has made it through the ban phase and the ETC. So I think here, you grab your Hyper Carry and then grab the ETC.
Yeah, it would definitely be a good rotation for them if they go in the 2. That would help them a lot, actually. And Bad Benny, I mean, he can also play a Nubarak. We've seen them a lot with that hero. At the same time, ETC is just currently the flavor of the month, and for a very good reason. He's super flexible, extremely versatile hero, and has very few weaknesses. So let's see what Team Expert is going to pull out now.
There's no way they grab Medivh here either, though, right? With the Tacita being up? Yeah. So we get ETC and we actually get the Uther.
Yeah, so Uther is taken. I mean, if you think about it, if you don't really have just everything hinging on Tracer, then you still have Lunara around, you can trade Tracer, you have, depending on the situation, maybe even a Cassia that you could play. So overall, I feel Expert just thinks they don't really feel that the hyper carry is going to be the linchpin here.
Yeah.
They're just saying the bottleneck for us is at this point the support, since Rhaegar's already been taken, so we want to combo something off, and you have also ETC Morsh Pit plus Divine Shield, so that's another plus.
So Playing Ducks can decide here if they want to ban out one of the options that are available. There are multiple options, but sometimes there are a couple compositions that you don't want to have to deal with. They are electing to possibly ban out the Malthael instead, targeting that top lane.
If they go into the Haka, for example, for the top lane, that would of course really help them, since Malthael has a winning trade into the Haka. So Malthael is already relieving some of the pressure on the top lane, no matter who's going to take it. Expert, on the other hand, now with their bans, could target the front line, could even ban out the Haka, because that is still a solid option for the Playing Ducks, especially since they're already looking towards a potential double support, or you simply target the support.
If you do ban out the Dahaka, do you make it where the top lane is a little bit hard to control? We see Sonya get picked up by Eternal, and then suddenly things become a little bit difficult?
I mean, whatever the top laner is fine, but the thing is, if you pipe the Haka at the top lane and you have your double support and the hyper carry at the bot lane, you can always burrow down and immediately just like take that into a quick fight. So that's oftentimes a concern. And since when it comes to globals, the Haka would put the Playing Ducks in a good spot, whereas Team Expert will all of a sudden have to think about drafting a second tank so that they can set ETC top. That would maybe relieve some of the pressure. But instead they're banning out ETC first of all, and now the Ducks can really try and think, okay, do we want to have that top laner, but they go into Sonya, Eternal playing the more aggressive style here again.
So Nurak being banned out here, solid pickup if you want to make sure that Uther can get off the Divine Shield, get the engage that you want, even the heals. Usually a Nurak will drop the Cocoon in pivotal moments. Sonya and Johanna now gives them wave clear, gives them a strong top lane, allows for Vala to have that beefy front line too, and they also have the damage to boot. So Playing Ducks looking strong and looking pretty normal. This is the composition that you would see from the Ducks on this map.
We can still see them with Medivh, by the way. They're waiting for the hero that Sportbilly is going to pick, so that is still an option for them. Have seen him also, of course, with Falstad in the past, but just recently Medivh would definitely fit with what they have. It would help Sonya, it would help Vala, and can also, of course, provide division. But there's a few options for them. Expert, on the other hand, they now need the hyper carry. They have the double support set up, so we're mostly talking about Lunara and Tracer so far. And there's a chance that we're going to see a Cassia as well, but some range damage would definitely be needed on their end.
Probably the top laner as well, someone to match that Sonya. So here it is, we have Li Ming and Illidan.
Alright, so hyper carry Illidan instead, and Li Ming for backline poke, so that works as well. Athero and a lot of focus on him. Yep, and Li Ming is going to try and get the resets. This is a bit old school what they're playing here, actually.
Li Ming coming in for a lot of our teams the last couple of weeks.
I like that we see a few more majors. Not only Li Ming, but also Kel'Thas coming back into the game. Gul'dan being played a lot more right now. I'm really enjoying this quite a lot. And especially this comp that we're seeing from Expert, that has been around for so much time. The idea was always to create space for Li Ming, with Illidan trying to just soften up targets, prepare a couple of targets for a good combo to hit, and then Li Ming getting those resets. So if you go maybe like 6-7 months back, that was a super popular composition that was played a lot. And here comes the last pick, Medivh, as we expected from the Playing Ducks. Makes super sense for Sportbilly. And it comes back to what Athero said in the interview already. You want Sportbilly, if you're the Playing Ducks, you want him on a hero that he's comfortable on, that he has, where he has that playmaker ability and can really just shine for his team.
Leyline seal is important, especially when that Illidan dives in. If you can hit that back line, Sportbilly needs to hit those perfect pixel moments, and usually he does pull them off there when you give him those big tools. So the Medivh being here for the Playing Ducks, Team Expert for the first time is going to pass up on it instead and move into Li Ming and Illidan. Now, we've seen a lot of iterations of this Illidan composition in the past. We've seen Lunara in the past, which is more about burning your opponent down, eventually wearing them. But here, it's more about burst, trying to get those resets set up, as Caldor was alluding to. And if anyone has the coordination to do it, Expert has been looking clean in team fights.
Yeah, again, it comes down to Medivh, a lot of this. He can be the one that just denies plays, that when a combo, for example, is about to hit, is able to lock that down. So that helps with portal escapes, or even just portal rotations behind a fort, for example, to pick a kill up. So there's a lot that Sportbilly can do with this setup. But again, the track record of the Ducks against Team Expert is not really the best, and so far Expert has shown solid play throughout Part 1 and Part 2 of Phase 2, but they dropped their series against TGG, and of course they can't really afford to do that again against the Ducks if they want to qualify for the HGC Finals at BlizzCon directly, so they have to give their all right now.
Well, let's do it. Team Expert versus Playing Ducks. Game number 1, best of 5 series here. Will Playing Ducks get their first victory against Team Expert, or will Expert continue to walk away with 3-0s?
And we're heading straight into game number 1 here. We're currently seeing on the left side the Playing Ducks. We have in this case Nanda on Johanna, Wolfjo on Rhaegar, Eternal for the solo lane on Sonya with Sportbilly on Medivh, and Chris on Vala with his favorite Aggro build.
To the right side, in the red, Bad Benny playing ETC, a Thorough on Illidan, Kirsten playing the Uther, ADRD playing Tassadar, and Nick will be playing Li Ming.
So, heading into our first game, it's of course all about the Ducks, I feel, for now. It always feels that if they are up against a strong opponent, they play just so much better, but oftentimes they don't have what it takes to win the entire series, to win the 5th map, to really take the last one. And that has been a huge problem for them in the past. So if they can show the same level of performance that they showed against Dignitas, against Fnatic, then I really think they can force a lot out of Team Expert there. But they have to, from the get-go, show that confidence just overall that they sometimes just seem to be lacking for some reason.
Yeah, they seem to kind of, we were talking about it in the first series, the doubt when it comes in can really just throw you off your bandwagon. Most of the time it happens in the draft they were talking about. They'd always been a spot where they have a plan and then they see something on the opposing side and they go, what about this? And they start questioning what they want to roll out. Playing Ducks is this team that when they get what they want, they do pretty well. And so far they've been focusing on that for the last couple of weeks. So Thorough takes some damage here on the top side as Sportbilly rotates between the middle and the top lane.
Yeah, we see way more of these 2-lane setups now these days, and it's one of the reasons why Illidan doesn't even bother going into Immolation here on level 1, but instead for the Battle Assault, he already knows that Tassadar is going to help him out significantly with a Storm.
Storming in there, bringing up the extra damage. If he's able to hit 2 people with that Battle Assault. Thorough on the side, taking pressure once again. Sportbilly dropping down a couple of damages here. And with the Shrine spawning up, we'll see how the control pops out. For Playing Ducks, they've been doing a pretty decent job of taking that Johanna and rotating between the middle and the top, or the middle and the bottom. Trying to catch their opponent out of position, but so far Uther has been playing very safe. A Thorough, on the other hand, though, taking some damage. A Thurnal chunking him.
Yeah, with the Spear Connects against Illidan, there's a reason why Sonya is just so good against Illidan in particular. That single target damage that she can bust out is pretty powerful. Once again, we're having both of the Shrines in the hands of the Ducks, and they're trying to see if they can maybe pick up that early Dragonite. Those got, of course, buffed, so that would be a significant lead into the early game here. Early level 4 for Team Expert. And Expert is really starting to make sure that there's no DK for the Ducks this early in the game.
Delaying as much as they can. Sportbilly taking some massive damage in the middle. Gets away with the portal. Team Expert delaying long enough to the point where they get the Medivh to go away. Should be able to allow ETC to delay long enough while someone can grab that Shrine in the top. But Kirsten, again, is looking to hold the bottom side.
And Eternal is still trying to really put the damage in, when he is definitely a threat to Illidan, as you could see in that situation too. Now with the Quest Talent for Vala activating, we're going to see Chris, of course, to try and work on that to get his extra damage in. And we have a bit of a turnaround, at least up to the top lane, where we now have Team Expert claiming the Shrine. But down here, Kirsten is in trouble. The Condemn hits, and immediately the slow afterwards. Uther's death is the reward. The Ducks picking up the kill here. Well played by them, as Team Expert is losing out some of the lane sustain at the bot lane, which opens the opportunity for the Ducks to push the wall in.
Even with Kirsten falling, you gotta love what Nick did there. He actually stood in front of the Uther to attempt to take that Hungering Arrow that would come in to make sure he can get away. Didn't work out for them, but you can see the teamwork there from Team Expert in the attempt to keep his teammate alive. Playing Ducks getting that kill on the bottom side, we're able to sneak away and grab the Giants here, so this will allow for them to put some pressure on that bottom side. And something you can do pretty often if you do get a takedown on your opponent, but that does open up the Dragon in the middle. Sportbilly able to delay with the help of his Johanna.
In the meantime, Sonya has claimed the Shrine at the top lane. Vala is locked in the battle with Li Ming at the bottom of the map. It's really a back and forth game that we're seeing so far. The Ducks are here to play, and they are currently fighting. Chris, of course, dancing around in the background with one arrow after another. And here comes Sportbilly. Once again, Totem on the ground, trying to slow them down, but Bad Benny immediately creating some space for the team.
Space created here. 7 does hit. Should see that Master's Touch coming online here for our Medivh. There it is. So Power Spike's hitting once again for our teams. Can they work on that Master's Touch and finish it up soon? We will see as Sport Billy continues to play aggressive, especially with 4 people being on the bottom side. They now have the spot where they can work on turrets.
Sonya is doing extremely well at the top lane. Eternal is definitely working or putting some time in. But now once again, Ethereal jumping in there, trying to pressure Sonya back. But every single time he does, it also means that the players are missing on the map. In the bot lane, that's where most of the attention is now at. And we have Chris, of course, with the double arrow that really helps him to stack his talent and also to dish the damage out. So bot lane has to be careful. Nanda with a wave clear, busy in the mid lane here, pushing Bad Benny back.
This is one of the beauties of Dragonshire, man. It doesn't look as crazy as because his kills are pretty low, but the rotation between the teams have been just this tug of war of trying to control both of the shrines, but also the Merc camps while working in some damage overall. And they continue to keep up with it here with ADRD anchoring in the top for Expert, and Li Ming and Kurson continue to try and hold that bottom side with that Uther.
I'm really loving the way that Medivh sets up these portals again to always be annoying and try and regain shrine control when they lose it. Now we're still having 1 shrine under the control of each of these teams, and both of them on identical experience. It's 1 kill so far, but again the plays up at the top as we're seeing Ethereal in a bit of trouble. Sport Billy is working on the Master's Touch still, sets the portals up, and we have Vala at the bottom of the map, starting to get closer and closer to the completion of the Arrow quest, and also netting a 2nd kill against Uther himself.
Pretty impressive at 70 stacks already. A few more stacks away, and they'll be able to finish that off. Getting the kill on Uther does open up the shrine on the bottom side, and Playing Ducks do get a little bit ahead in experience, 9.5 to 9.25, while Bad Benny is in a position here where he's trying to stop the dragon, gets caught out, and may actually die too. The Playing Ducks with 3 kills to 0.
Yeah, they are looking quite powerful here in the early game, and of course they still want to get the Dragonite. Bad Benny is the only one who's dead at the moment. It's a 5 versus 4, but the push at the bot lane is now dedicated to the wall, and they still want that DK, and there's a good chance that they're going to get it this time.
Yeah, there is. Sonya's already moving in the middle. Medivh is harassing the Night Camp on the right side. We'll be able to get out with the portal. Eternal starts to jump in the dragon, but maybe taking a little bit too long here. Kirsten comes in with a wave of light to delay it. And finally, the dragon has grabbed the first one of the game, and it's awarded to the Playing Ducks.
And that was also a lot of free damage that they just got against Uther, who had to move back here. So Eternal is starting to get some damage in. The entire wall has already been drained of ammunition, the 2 towers, and that now means that we are having at the bot lane even more damage pressured in, since the reaction from Expert was a move into the mid lane. Heroic abilities have now been picked up by both teams, most of them at least that is. And yeah, the DK gets some value here. Experience lead is starting to build up for the Playing Ducks.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, they have half a level on their opponent. Team Expert will have to start forcing fights pretty soon here. Archon has been chosen for our Tassadar, so is Moshpit. Illidan's still deciding on what he wants to pick up. Right now, he's working on the dragon on the top side. He can decide that heroic later on when the fights do pop out. But Chris, again, closer and closer to finishing that Hungering Arrow build. Only needs 3 more stacks.
Yeah, and we have a nearly entire level lead for the Playing Ducks now, so they can really attempt to try and play around talent advantages. Level 12 versus 11 currently on the board, and we have 3 kills against 0. Dragonite is starting to fall here out of the ration. It's just the one thing that Eternal really did when he realized, okay, I'm not going to get more out of this, is simply kept the dragon alive and then poked with a Breath of Fire the entire time to make sure that he pokes those waves down a bit faster. But now it's, of course, level 10 versus level 10 abilities, both of the teams relying on their heroics. And at some point, Ethereal is going to be the driving force here with him trying to push in with Illidan.
That he will be, and tried to be there, jumping on the back line, hopping in the Medivh. They were able to get away from the fight and also drop a portal. The Ducks have incredible disengage. They can walk away from a fight at any point between Johanna, Blessed Shield, portals popping up. Sonya may be the only one that could get in trouble, but again, with the portals popping out, should be fine for her. So Team Expert will have to find a window where Medivh isn't floating around them to get those engages.
Yeah, and they're currently trying to time that camp a bit. Waiting around here for now. Nick is the one who's actually waiting this out. There's the camp taken on the left side by the Ducks. At the same time, an attempt to go for the portal. Look at that. Sport Billy was attacked, and they attempted to push him back away from the portal to get the kill. But Medivh still moving out. Currently sitting at 10 stacks for his Master's Touch.
Waiting on those Giants. They wanted to see the Playing Ducks get their Giant moving in first. That way they could have a bit of spot to help clear them out with Li Ming. 13, the main goal for Team Expert, and they're going to be soaking the top in the middle. I'm watching them playing Ducks, and I want to find that moment where they try to force something to happen, and it's a bit difficult with all these turrets still being up, that dragon not really opening up the map, so instead they just work on Knights on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's where, again, the arrow build comes into play. If you just drop the arrows over and over again and you have Monster Hunter, you're super fast with it. And I'm really impressed how the Ducks are currently showing their strength here. I'm really liking it. This is what we've been talking about for so long, that they seem to struggle in a lot of these games. In this first map, at least, so far, there has been no problem for them. They just play their style, they do their thing, they have good rotations here, and it really pays off. The 3 kills against Team Expert were a good start. They get the first objective, and they just continue that strong showing that we've been asking for weeks now.
Meta has been the choice for a Thorough, and he's actually handling the Medivh at the top, holds the Shrine. Team Expert, when will you go in for those engages? It feels like at this point, Team Expert may be the one that actually forces a fight. With the Bad Benny ETC, finding someone, like in the top lane, they do find a Sonya. Will they try to jump on top of her? Nah, she's able to get away from the fight.
I mean, you have to be careful also if you're a Team Expert, because the playing Ducks are now about to hit 15. And once that happens, 16 talents are starting to become a bit of a concern for you. And with the talent advantage, the Ducks could make the play for the second Dragon Knight. So Team Expert at some point has to start making something happen here, because they just can't allow that. Ananda's already moving in. Bad Benny, keep in mind, he has the Mosh Pit, is going to be a constant threat here. Chris is playing really careful, always moving away from them. Here comes again a quick slide. Ancestral even being hit on Nanda, maybe even a bit prematurely. But at the top lane, a camp is pushing against the fort. And that is an issue for Team Expert, as we over and over see the attempt for the Dragon Knight.
Meta's been used, and we're going to have the Divine Shield also being utilized. Illidan goes in for the engage. They're working on a Thurnal in the top right corner. Bad Benny zoning out the ball as much as he can, and Sport Billy, but a Thorough just cannot get through this Johanna and the Sonya. Leyline Seal will connect, but Sport Billy is going to be taken out here. Li Ming gets a reset. She goes and takes out a second member, looking for a third. A Thurnal's going to be able to walk away, but Team Expert turned the fight around.
Medivh and Vala down thanks to the mosh pit that Bad Benny committed in the fight. That was well done by him. But still, keep in mind, even though it's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Expert, they're losing the fort at the top lane. It has taken so much damage already as is, and there is still the threat of the Dragon Knight being grabbed. Finally, ETC starts rotating down, but we have the Ducks now with a level 16 talent. It was a great leyline, by the way, making sure that they can get the kill against Illidan, but then Bad Benny with a play, getting the mosh pit through.
The fort looks like it might just stand barely. There's a couple of minions hitting it. ADRD goes to the top, drops down a Side Storm, and the fort, while low, does live for now. 16 hits for the playing Ducks. They do have a ton of advantage, but Team Expert is right behind them, especially after that team fight.
Yeah, and now with the 16 talents, that's of course one of those moments where you can really get a massive power spike in. Vala, first of all, with Manticore at this point, can now really start chunking against the frontliners. Then we have the reabsorption taken for Medivh himself. And we now also have the Earthgrass Totem with even imposing presence on Johanna. So really focusing a bit on Illidan and making sure that his auto attacks are going to be slowed down here. Expert still claimed 16, but just look at this, the kill. This is exactly what you need to do. You have the talent advantage, you make the play. They go in, they drop Uther, and now it's a 5 versus 4, and that's the moment when you can again make your play for the Dragon Knight, or at least take some structures, and that's what they're doing at the bot lane.
Yeah, Team Expert realizing this, they go ahead and allow the Dragon to be grabbed. Instead, they grab the Merc camp so they can get the top lane pushing up as well as the bottom, and they can put their attention towards dealing with this Dragon, especially whenever we have Uther spawn back up.
Medivh can portal to the camp.
He's sitting on top of it.
Yeah, and they're trying to go for it. Here comes the ley line, and they just steal it away. Steal with the ley line, the rest of the team is there already, escapes with a portal. Wolfjaw, on the other hand, is a bit low, but Medivh is ready. Here comes the meta, they're going in, but the immediate blessed shield, and goodbye Illidan. He is down, camp stolen away, Illidan dead. The Dragon Knight takes the fort down in the middle. The Ducks are really putting a number on Team Expert at this point.
That they are. Thorough. I was actually kind of curious as to why he was still sitting in that fight. They didn't even have their ETC near them, so there was no peel available, and he didn't have crowd surfer, so he can't come over the wall. Been interesting. I think he just wanted to make sure he was there for the dive so Illidan can get out of the fight. But now Team Expert, with 4 members to turn around and work on this Dragon, they'll hop on top of it with a Thurnal being the focus, but he gets through the fort easily.
Yeah, and Illidan isn't even here yet, so this is still an advantageous fight for the playing Ducks. They have a 2-level lead right now, have taken down every single fort on the map. So it's only the keeps between the playing Ducks and Team Expert's core.
3 keeps still stand, still in the game, but playing Ducks looking fantastic here as they're about to hit level 19, 2 levels ahead of their opponent. Thorough is working on getting his meta back here in the top lane as he works on that metamorphosis by working on those auto attacks.
This is pretty cool to see. Every time we see the Ducks go up against a stronger opponent or someone high up in the standings, they present themselves well and then they lose the series. Now, all of a sudden, from the start at least, they are starting to be aggressive. This is the playing Ducks that were able to take wins off Fnatic. These are the playing Ducks that did well against Dignitas. Expert, not looking good so far on the first map. But again, it's only the first map here, and traditionally the Ducks have struggled in overall series. But if they can keep this performance up, then they are at least going to make it very difficult for Team Expert to come back into this map and potentially even the match.
The good news for Team Expert is they do have a pretty solid team fight right now. Benediction coming online in 16. They can force a fight, but they have yet to be able to get that fight. Playing Ducks have been doing a really good job of anchoring bushes, watching the flanks. You just saw there was a Eternal sat in the bush the entire time instead of hopping on the Tassadar and the Illidan. They're not trying to force anything. They don't have to. They want to get 20 first, and they may even sacrifice their fort here to get it.
Yeah, they might sacrifice the fort, but I like that the Experts are actually going for the fort, because if it's sacrificed, then at least you got something out of it. But now that 20 hit, they have to, of course, move back. Vala is already on their way to the top.
Eternal comes in, pops Wrath. Nande will hit a big condemn on Bad Benny and ADRD. ADRD will get out with Dimensional Shift, and Bad Benny gets out with Power Slide. Eternal's being dealt with on the top right side, but with Ignore Pain, he is living.
Yeah, Eternal is there, Leyline Seal hitting to Meta, comes in, ETC is down, Ancestral goes through as they're trying to turn it around once again. The Divine Shield is on Illidan as he's jumping in once more, but a quick condemn could actually be his downfall. Tassadar is dead, so he can't shield him, and that's a triple kill with Curson being on the run, the dog chasing him down slowly and steadily, and a quick walled arrow combo drops Uther. 4 heroes down as the playing Ducks move into the middle of the map.
They clean up the fight. Portal comes out, minions are on their way, and they're going to look towards a keep. Nick had to go back and get mana during that fight as well, making it much harder for Team Expert to even have a chance. Nick's going to try his best to defend here, but the playing Ducks are just barreling down middle lane. They're even looking at a core. In fact, they find Nick, get a slow on him, he'll be able to teleport out.
Nick with a perfect combo, by the way, onto the portal. I mean, 3 heroes just came out, but it's just not enough, even though he's doing a fantastic job here. The core is falling fast down to 50. Li Ming is dead. ETC comes back. He has the mosh pit, but as long as they split, they'll be fine. And indeed they are. The playing Ducks are taking game number 1 in the best of 5 series.
Playing Ducks coming out to play here. Game number 1 shutting down Expert and looking pretty doing it here. Massive amount of kills here. 11-2. That bottom fight that we just saw on the very beginning was great, but the end fight too was even better. 4 kills right away, using the level 20 advantage. Let's go ahead and check out a replay here and see how that fight definitely unfolded here for the Ducks.
Yeah, so up at the top, they are forcing it, and they get the blow up against ETC after the Blessed Shield came out, and that was just well done. The Divine Shield keeps Illidan alive a little bit longer, but then, yeah, this is just a cleanup job. They have the 20, and they are absolutely using it. 1 hero goes down after another. As Tassadar falls, there's no one there to really help Illidan out anymore. Curson gets isolated to the left, and then it's only Li Ming, and it's just not enough. So great kills here by the Ducks, forcing the fight at the perfect time. And they had just a great draft, great early game. Ducks with a fantastic first map.
Yeah, in that fight too, you also saw Sonya take on a 3-on-1 there. As she pulled everyone in the top right corner, popped the Ignore Pain at the right time, right when the burst would be coming out, and then from there they turn around the fight completely. The Storm Talent's being a bit too much, but I also love the call there from the playing Ducks after they got that 4-man wipe to run towards the middle lane and just end the game right there. A lot of times you may have seen a keep pulled up, teams would pull back and grab the dragon, and that gives a chance there for Team Expert to come back.
Yeah, right. They had enough time. It was just like a time thing. They have also Medivh there. They still have all the heals, so they have the sustain in the situation. But Nick did a great job trying to defend here, but he alone just can't do anything there in the long run. So it's definitely a great start into the series for the Ducks, but they still have to win. It was the first map though that they won in HGC in the online matches against Team Expert, so that's already a bit of a win for them. But of course, they are here to get the match victory so that they can finally start to move out of these slots at the bottom of the map. for the Crucible, bottom of the standing, sorry.
Well, let's go and look here at our player comparisons. We have Chris. We know about him. He streams Heroes all the time. Check out his stream if you get the chance. He does it in the mornings here in America, but in the evenings on the Europe side. But Nick, also on the right side, has been a staple for Team Expert in the last year and has always been impressive. But for some reason, no one really talks about him as much as he would a lot of the other players. And I really feel like we should highlight him more often.
I mean, Nick is that silent assassin, just get these kills in. And of course, he's one of the reasons why Expert is doing so well here. Chris and his team, they've struggled a lot during the past phase, as you can see here as well. And Nick just putting better stats onto the board with his KDA currently 7.27. It's pretty impressive.
Not too shabby there, barely dying. Keeping up here for Team Expert, as he's really one of those strong players that helps out in the 4-man. The 4-man has always been great for Team Expert, with Thorough coming in there as well. You're seeing how effective they can be, but Playing Ducks still come out in game number 1 and shut them